In this video today, we are looking at some of the potentially most OP and maybe even in some situation broken cards coming to us in set 3 of Riftbound called Unleashed. We're looking at the cards that have been revealed. There's still probably at least half the cards that haven't. So I will be doing multiple videos in the next week or two when we get more reveals talking about that. If you'd like these type of videos where I'm analysing new cards, tutorials, doing deck analysis, gameplay tips, things like that, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Brand new channel trying to give you daily Riftbound content. So I've picked a load of the cards that are on the official Riot UVS website where they've actually announced them, and obviously we've not had chance to test these cards yet. The set's not officially out for a month and a half, but we've seen the cards, and based off of what we know in set 1 and 2, the meta and what just seems good, I'm going to look at the cards. Some we might spend a bit more time on, some I'm just highlighting them. So first one, we've just gone from top to bottom. Inferno. So Inferno looks like a mini Rengar. Very good card in my opinion. For 2 energy, you can literally go to a battlefield with a unit. They might think, oh, you've barely got any units out. You go with this unit, and then you put this in, and it suddenly becomes 3 might extra for 2 energy, and you get to keep the unit. Bear in mind, something like Cleave is 1 energy to give you 3 assault. This literally gives you a full unit. So this is a very good card. Ambush seems very good. I'm not going to go as far as broken, but a potentially very, very good card to add to red. And it kind of fits in with red aesthetics and playstyle. Jhin, Murderous Artist. If you've watched my other videos, I've said that this, honestly, to me, could be the best champion unit in the game so far. I think it's between him and Aurelia Fervent. Deflect and ganking are 2 of the best keywords right now in the game, in my opinion. And this, when I move, add 1 energy or power, is ridiculous. 4 gets above a lot of the bad thresholds. Very, very, very good card. And this really does help the power level of the Jhin deck, in my opinion. Vi, really cool art, by the way. I don't know if this one's broken up here. I'm just somewhat highlighting some cool looking cards, but no energy cost, no power cost, sorry. And for 2 energy, I'm not sure about this. I think this means 2 energy and 1 red, or does it mean 2 reds? I'm not sure. If someone knows, please do tell me. But either way, just being able to double her might, that's pretty crazy. That's a very powerful effect. This Master Yi, obviously his deck, XP decks are going to be built around him as a finisher, but this is a ridiculous card. We need to obviously see how good XP is, but if XP is not that hard to get, you could potentially end up getting a card for 6 energy, no power, that's got 12 might, and that's really good. And in that Yi deck, he's going to enter ready, so really, really good card. I think this Yi deck looks potentially very good. Vilemaw, this is a game-changing unit when it gets put out. When you hold, draw 1. Enemy units here with less might than me don't deal combat damage. That is a unique effect we've not seen anywhere else. And it has ambush, so you can just chuck it into a battle and it basically accelerates it. So, ridiculous card. Potentially very good. This will 100% be in the Yi Aurora decks. Crescent Strike. Void Seeker, you choose a battlefield and you deal 4 to the unit. The only difference with this compared to Void Seeker, from what I see, is that this one does 1 extra to each enemy Void Seeker draws. Don't think it's crazy, this card, but I think it's very good, and potentially in the Ezreal Dana decks could lead to some really big players. Dana Lunare, when a showdown begins here, you may pay 1. Dana gets 1 extra energy, and then you get to do predict, and you can draw a spell. Really powerful effect in that deck. That's going to be a spell-heavy deck. Hwei, Brooding Painter. When I move, draw 1, discard 1. It's basically a better traveling merchant. Then do the following based on the discarded cards type. So with Hwei, every time you move, you can effectively guarantee either a draw, ready 2 runes, or give +3 to Hwei. Very powerful effect. This Hwei unit is quite a unique one. Closest thing we've maybe seen is Aphelios. Blue Sentinel. Definitely looking at Ari and hold decks here. +2 shield, so it's going to have 6 might. Really cool art on the card. Your hold effects for holding here trigger additional time. So if you've got like Alluring Arrow, you get 2 points extra for holding. So you can just get 3 points in one hold. When I hold, add power at the start of your next main phase. I don't even remember seeing that before. So you get an extra floating power. That is an insane card for 4 energy and 1 power. Jhin, kind of like Nocturne, but a bit easier to trigger in my opinion. His deck's all about playing 4 mana cards or more anyway. This would be amazing in Lux as well. If you spent 4 or more to play a spell this turn, you may play me for power, and you get to do vision as well. So really, really good card. Gutter Palace. I don't think this card's necessarily OP, but it's a pretty crazy, unique card. I'm not going to go into it too much, but you get 4 of a bunch of stuff, you win the game. That is ridiculous. So very interested to see if anyone can ever make that work. I feel like it's a bit of a meme that you won't, but who knows. This card, in my opinion, in the right decks and situation, is going to be up there for the best card, champ card in the game. Backline, very good keyword to protect her. The card art's amazing on it. I think this is going to be one of the very expensive, like Ezreal Prodigy Kai'Sa type, Survivor type card in the new set. Your temporary effects at my battlefield don't trigger. So she's all about making temporary units. That is pretty crazy if she can stop them triggering and just keep these units alive. There's going to be some crazy plays she could do. I honestly think she could have been a 3 might unit and she would have been more than fine. But to be 4 energy, no power with this is pretty ridiculous. Master Yi. This card is probably always going to be the chosen champ in the Yi decks. You can get him out turn 2. Hunt when I conquer or hold, gain 2 XP. Very quick way of leveling up. And then when you get him to 6, Master Yi gets +1 on all units anyway. So he's going to be a 5 might unit with deflecting ganking. That is very powerful. So I think this is a very good card. And he's going to be able to ramp you up to get to that big Yi. Starcrossed. Kind of like a bit of a rebuke. It's free energy, so we're not just getting another 2 cost card. Return a friendly unit and an enemy unit to their owner's hands. I think this in itself can have some crazy synergy with like Fizzes, Sneaky Deckhands, Ezreal, stuff like that. But I don't think it's better than Rebuke because you can defy it easier. It doesn't have that 2 power, which makes Rebuke harder to stop. And Rebuke is 1 energy less. But I think it's just another crazy card that purple have. So, very powerful potential card. But I do think people freaked out a bit too much about it. Abandon. Now, this is a card that I think is stupid. Counters a spell. From what I can see, for 2 energy, no power, you can just counter any spell in the game. Purple didn't need that, in my opinion. They obviously get to return it to their hand. But if someone uses like a Time Warp, well, not anymore. It's crazy to me that there's a card that just instantly counters that doesn't even cost any power. I think this card, at an absolute minimum, should have been 1 power. I'm surprised that it's been printed, but purple gets another ridiculous card. This, to me, is one of the most ridiculous cards that I've seen so far in set 3. Insightful Investigator. This one's a little bit more balanced. You do have to pay XP to be able to discard the card from someone. And then if you do, they do get to draw 1 as well. But when just getting to play this card, it's a free energy free might. That's good in itself. It's okay. You get to see the hand. That's really crazy. Hand knowledge is really big. This card has the potential to be the most broken card in set 3. Heedless Resurrection. And surprise, surprise, it is purple. As an additional cost to play this, kill a friendly unit. Now, as of now, there's been no bans in Riftbound. However, if this card is allowed to exist in a world that Rasa the Sundra exists, that is insane. You can kill a friendly unit, and then you play a unit from your trash that costs no more energy and no more power than the killed unit. Rasa is technically 10 energy and 1 power. No one ever plays Rasa, from 10 energy. But being able to get most units in the game for free, effectively with Rasa, is pretty crazy. On your opponent's turn, you could do things like Bryn here. So there's a battlefield that if anyone holds, it does 1 damage. You can react to triggers like that, and then you could just play this and play a Brynir from trash. So you get another Brynir back. There's some crazy synergies this card will be able to do. I do think certain cards, if they're not banned, will just make this card ridiculous. Baron Nashor. I think this card has potential to have games where it's just ridiculous, but I think for the most part it's a fun memey card, but it looks pretty crazy and like some really fun stuff. Pyke, any free cost unit, potentially very good. Just allows you to have a very good turn 1 if you go second, or turn 2 guaranteed. Once each turn, when an enemy unit dies whilst I'm at a battlefield, play a gold gear token. That's big in itself, and then it's got backline and he can be hidden. So very good chance of being a quick gold generator. Diana, no longer human. Pretty cool, like name around it, and the card art's crazy. When you play a spell, give me +2, and she's got ambush. Blue and purple, Diana's colours, are going to be very spell heavy. So if you're playing a load of spells, this card is going to very quickly become an absolute monster. You could literally as well, if someone like Falling Starred and just targeted her once, Stupefier puts her to -2, but to 2, then puts her back to 4. So this card's very crazy. It could be a really, really good support card in the Aurelia decks as well. So I'm very interested to see how this Diana card does, but I think she's very, very good. Ultra Soft Poro, don't think it's necessarily broken, but I think it's got some really cool stuff it can do in certain decks. Playing 2 bird units with deflect, there's certain buffs that you can get with stuff. It can very quickly make holding very hard for your opponent to break. Atakhan, Legends of Runeterra people will know him. This Atakhan card looks really, really good. Yellow getting a really powerful card. It's got ganking, and yeah, you can kill a friendly unit. Need to look into how that works and what good unit synergy there are, but you can make it a lot cheaper based on that. I think you could probably use Leblanc's temporary tokens as well, I imagine, because those reflect the stuff. You could make a token with Leblanc and then play Atakhan with that. So if you got like a temporary version of like a card that was 8 energy free power, you could maybe play Atakhan for 2 and just kill the temporary token. That in itself is pretty crazy. And then this effect, when I attack, the defender must kill one of their units. That is outrageous. That is an amazing one. And in Leblanc, if you do like a mirror image and have 2 of these Atakhans, you can just wipe 2 of their units straight away. And it's not like he doesn't have a lot of might anyway. 7 might is very good. Sacrifice. I think this card has potential for some very crazy plays. As an additional cost to players, kill a friendly mighty unit. I think, again, this is going to work very well in LeBlanc. And you get to channel a Rune Exhausted on top of the 2 draw. So this card will be a bit techy and require certain requirements, but it's going to be very, very good in certain decks. Rift Herald. I think this card looks amazing with Baited Hook. I don't like the Baited Hook playstyle. I don't think it's a playstyle I'll ever play, but you could kill this unit with Baited Hook and then get to play a unit from one of the 5 in your deck, and then you can also play a unit from your hand to base, ignoring its energy cost. So you could get potentially 2 units for very cheap, and you could put this unit, it's a big unit anyway, put pressure on with this unit. I imagine as well that you could use LeBlanc with this to make a temporary version of it and then let it die. And then when it dies, you get to play a unit from your base free. So I think it's a really, really good card that has really good synergy into certain decks. Pyke, I think it's a bit of a niche one, but I think that 1 mana return a friendly unit is going to have some really crazy plays. You get a gold gear token as well, and you can just start bringing cards back like Fizz, Ezreal. There's probably going to be more like that. And there's one where you can channel a rune exhausted at a battlefield that's made just for Pyke. Vi, think this, what do you call it, readying a unit just for doing excess damage in the deck's all about. It's very good. Alpha Strike, one of the best signatures I've seen so far, I think. You can do your damage equal to its might, split amongst enemy units at battlefield. Green and orange, punch first and all the pump spells in green, are going to be able to get some big units. And if you have like a Yi Aurora deck and you get a massive unit out for free, and then you can just wipe battlefields with this. If they have no way of countering this, this is going to obliterate people. and it can get your XP up quick. So ridiculous card. They don't do any damage back to you. It's like a challenge on steroids, and they can't do damage back. So ridiculous card. If you get that early and get a lot of XP off of it, and the opponent can't do anything, you're going to scale quickly, get that Chosen Yi. You're going to be doing bits. This is a card that can potentially completely change the game, and it's only 3 energy, 1 power. This one being able to stop your opponents from playing any spells. Most people are not going to run that many cards that are able to counter a spell that's got 2 power. So very good card. I don't think it's as crazy as it first looks, but at the same time, it can just make for huge turns. Leblanc, I think as of now, she looks like the best new legend. Blue-yellow is a decent colour combo. It looks even better in this set. I think yellow's getting a lot of love compared to some other colours. And it's early on, but I think this Leblanc looks like she's got potential to be an absolutely amazing deck. Moonfall. This or Mirror Image of the best signatures, in my opinion, I've seen. Alpha Strike's very good as well. You get like a mini Watcher effect with this for 3 energy, 1 power. Choose a battlefield where you have units. You may move up to 1 enemy unit to that battlefield. So you could go to a battlefield and then just use this there, or you could bring enemies to your battlefield. It's got multiple uses, and the -2 is really good. This card's going to make for some crazy plays. Poppy, basically giving a rebuke to Poppy. It's an ever so slightly more powerful rebuke. Not much in it, but very cool card, similar to Poppy's ultimate. And then this battlefield, the fact that it puts a trigger in the beginning phase that, like I said, you could do Heedless Retribution into like a Bryn here, or just do other triggers, is very powerful and can potentially lead to some quite toxic gameplay, I would argue. And then Ripper's Bay, this one just looks very good because it's something that most decks aren't going to be able to get any synergy out of, but it just makes someone like Pyke better. There you go. I don't think I've missed much of, if anything, of the what cards that to me look very, very good. Of course, I'm interested. If you've got any thoughts on any of these cards, let me know. If you've got a favourite card you've seen in set 3. And yeah, we'll be doing more videos as more cards and deck kind of stuff gets filled out. I appreciate you all tuning in. Keep it spicy. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.